Yo, mate, welcome to Metal Review Cast. Today we're going to be doing an interview with Alex and Lucas from InVisions. We're doing this interview ahead of their, I forgot my words now, headlining show. And I don't know what the album's called, so yeah, let's go.
Because you're a shit cunt. Don't know what the album's called.
I'm so shit at this.
Deadlock.
Yeah, he's honest.
Deadlock.
I nearly dropped the N-bomb then as well. Holy shit, taken off there.
Yeah.
So we're off to a good start, are we, lads?
Yeah. We love you, don't you know?
Well, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
thank you guys. Just to come chat.
I appreciate you boys coming on. We're missing your gig, so I felt like we had to do something else.
No.
Guide, man. You pick the best weekend though, because everyone can just come down and fucking rage, can't they?
Well, that's it. Like, a bank holiday weekend is mint, but then I think all of a sudden everyone's kind of like, oh shit, we didn't even realize it was a bank holiday weekend till like halfway through it. So now like we're kind of seeing a lot of people being like, oh yeah, no, dude, bank holidays haven't meant anything for the last couple of years when you can't do shit anyway, so you just sat at home like, mint. But man, like we definitely wanted both dates to be on a weekend because we didn't want to have to like split the shows. But it's like it was super hard to find dates because obviously with all the shows kind of like all of a sudden happening again in the UK and it kind of becoming a consistently okay thing.
Yeah.
We were booking these shows. I think we started in something like November, maybe December, and by the time we were like booking them, we were originally going to have them in March. Got pushed back to April just because the venues just weren't available because everyone
Caskets and TSRs have gone this month as well, haven't they? I think.
I think so. Yeah.
So it's like all the bands are trying to catch up for the 2 years worth of touring. Like I think we were kind of quite lucky to be able to do it in December. To be honest, I don't think many people were kind of anticipated that touring would continue over the Christmas period. I think they thought I'd probably stop and then start again. Around now, but thank fuck we did.
Yeah. First gig in, I come and ruin it and spend most of it backstage. I wasn't about to spoil it for my boys, so I had to stay through like a trooper.
To be fair, mate, props to you for that. Like, I can't quite believe that you managed to just sit there so chill, like supping on a beer. Like, don't worry.
I think that's the only thing I could do. Like, you guys know what Leeds is like on a Friday. Like, obviously, Sean and Leon aren't aware of it, but I was just like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock on a Friday night going to LGI. I'm not going to get seen until 6 o'clock in the morning. So, it worked out well because I got to see you boys. I went out to the back and then got dropped off at hospital in Wakefield and they see me within 40 minutes. Got delivered back home. Honestly, got delivered back home in just a gown and my boxer shorts because I didn't want to cut my fucking trousers off. So I had to take it off before, and the taxi driver wasn't very impressed with me sitting on his leather seat in just my boxer shorts, mate. It's hilarious.
That's mad.
But fueled with beer, mate, and good music. It was banging. Forgot about everything.
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm glad you managed to see it. Particularly if obviously you guys can't make the show in a few weeks' time. I'm glad that you got the prelude to these kind of shows, which is a good thing.
Mate, we were pissed. Like Sean was like, we can't do the InVisions gig. It's LAN weekend. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
We always saw it. I think we've always seen you up north as well, so it would have been nice to like maybe do the London one because obviously we alternate for bands and stuff. Last time we did Caskets in London, done Caskets up north a couple of times. We just kind of alternate. So it would have been quite cool to see you elsewhere because I think we've always seen it. Well, actually, it's always been Key Club and York Bibbers, wasn't it?
Oh shit! Yeah. I remember that show. I remember. I did. Leon, didn't you leave like a T-shirt or something in the van? I remember like. This was years back now, wasn't it? Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Was that the Glamour of the Kill one?
It was.
It was. Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, you remember us, guys?
Yeah. I think is that the first time we properly met you?
It was the first time we had a chat.
Yeah.
We've done a few reviews and like obviously we knew you through. I've forgotten his name. I'm going. The Alzheimer's kicking in through Adam, but we'd never really spoke, and then we caught up. Then Dickie McDickneck left his T-shirt in your car, and then you took it on tour with you around Europe. And brought it back.
It's the van, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You showed
Yeah,
us
that was
Between You and Me before it was released.
Oh yeah, shit, I
Did you?
actually do remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
In your
we
van.
were buzzing.
In the fucking
It was
tour
so
Tour van.
sick.
Sick.
God, it makes me miss the van.
Yeah.
Do you not have it anymore? Is it gone?
No. We it's not actually ever our van. Like, so we always just rent them. But like, the van for us is the equivalent of like, it's the defining factor of being on tour and like being at shows. That
Yeah.
that 6 foot by 4 foot bit in the back of the van where you sit upright and also sleep as your absolute home for
Oh yeah.
3 weeks, and your toilet.
Wow.
It was a trick van for a rental, man. You had a really good sound system in there.
Yeah, it was sick.
Yeah, that one was actually I think that was one from Far Beyond Driven. They're proper like pimped. Like I can't remember why we got that one, but I think we were meant to get another one and they were like didn't have it available, so they gave us this like proper tricked out on one, and we're like, we're not gonna say no.
No.
So yeah, we look like we look like we should have been the headliners when in reality, no. But I think that show as well that you were at, I think that was the show that got us Download Festival as well. Because we played.
Oh yes, we filmed. What song was it?
The Damaged Ones.
The Damaged Ones, yeah. And that got sent to I can't remember the name of the organisation, but they put on that the Download show in the Doghouse tent.
It's Body Takeover.
Body Takeover, that's the one, yeah. And I think there was 6 bands they selected, and yeah, thankfully
it was a good show. And you had the fucking massive monitor at the back with all the effects on it as well.
Yeah, it was sick.
So like I remember Ben sent us a message about, oh, we should enter this, and we were kind of like, yeah, we never win shit. Like we're unlucky dudes. Like, we don't really win out. So like we entered it. So we just sent this video. We didn't like, try and find a super produced video or anything. We're like, oh, here's the best live video we've got. It's from someone's phone. Sent it in, and on April 1st, we got a phone call saying, got a message on Facebook saying, hey guys, if you're still available, do you want to play a Download Festival? And also, would you like to headline?
On April Fool's Day.
Yeah, dude, we literally messaged them back saying, fuck off, you having a laugh? And they're like, this has got to be an April Fool. They're like, oh, sorry, I didn't really kind of clock that it's April 1st, but now we're being serious. If you're available, do you want to headline a stage at Download? We're like, yeah, I reckon we can probably make ourselves available for that one.
No, sorry, we're a bit busy.
Yeah. I'm actually I'm having dinner. So. Shocker, mate.
Yeah, that's fucking sick. But that's it, and there's a lot of when we've spoken to some of the other bands as well. That's how they've been noticed as well. It's just all fucking live gigging, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's two kind of avenues, I'd say, and I don't think they really run parallel either. So like, you could be a hugely, well, it depends what caliber, I guess, but you could be a really successful online band, but it doesn't mean anything because a lot of the times you won't get the touring credentials. Because it's not like you could be a massive band on the internet, but it doesn't mean you're going to walk straight into a headline show because that converting fans from online fans into people who actually come into shows is a bit of a different thing. Yeah. So like, even if you do that, you kind of get treated as you're a brand new band. You still have to work up that ladder. So I think, there's always an element of putting a graft in, and even like a lot of the people who seemingly walk straight into good shows and stuff, it's often because they've been in bands for years and, the band's changed, but all the members have, clicked with people before and have, toured with all these bands because it's just networking about who you ultimately get offered the shows with.
And in terms of really looking at that, like where you are now and looking back, is there anything that you would change, like to effectively to get to where you are now? Like it obviously on reflection of where you are and where you position yourself musically and really like your fan base and everything else, is there anything that you would change now that you know that?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, there's stuff like now that we listen back to like some of the music that we've like released where we're kind of like, don't really feel that anymore. But I think the thing that I always kind of like, I say to the guys sometimes, like, because we have internal conversations about this where someone will be like, oh man, I wish we hadn't done this, or, I wish this wasn't a thing. I feel like a lot of bands kind of you know, they announce themselves after they've done all this, like finding out who the band are. But we've just done that in the public eye. Like we've done that as soon as we started the band. We started releasing music, and we started doing it to kind of like a, you know, semi-professional standard where it's like, here's an album. So, you know, all the learning curves, all the mistakes, and all the, you know, everything that we've done, all the steps that we've taken, ultimately kind of got us here. I don't necessarily think regret stuff, but I think, you know, it's nice. Like we'll sometimes look back on stuff and be like, holy shit, how did we ever think that was good? You know, but all of that stuff, like,
is what makes you who you are now.
Yeah, man. Like, you know, the main riff in Dope, you know, we were actually like jamming it the other week. It's actually quite a similar riff to the riff from Turn Up, and it's like, but the execution of it is so different because it's the experience and that like different like motivation behind it that I just think it feels different, and it feels like, you know, more mature and better. And I think that's you know, it's nice to have that ability to look back on how much we've grown, because we're still a fairly, like, you know, unheard of and young band.
Not just musically as well, but in terms of like the visuals that come along with it. I mean, how many times have we looked back at, you know, our first few photo shoots and been, you know, just dying with cringe, and you know, some of the music videos from the first album are just
yeah, it's just
I remember Unbreakable with the long hair and stuff.
Shit, man, yeah, like you know, so we came from a background of, like, you know, Al had done bits before in his, you know, previous band, but we're all very, very new to this. You know, it was a trial by fire situation. Luckily, we just had quite, you know, a lot of good friends, you know, like Sam and Joe at Inner Sound, who were able to kind of point us in the directions. Yeah, mate, just people who were, you know, able to go like, nah, you should be doing like this. And, you know, because we were, you know, because we still are, we're so determined to make it a full-time thing, we just soak up any information and any kind of like advice that people.
And that's key. I think you probably hear on a lot of our shows when you get opportunities to watch them is we don't intentionally big up Inner Sound Audio, but having a good studio or production house behind you is really important, and it makes a difference. If we straight away hear poor audio quality or anything like that, we're just like, you know, this band could be so much better, but they're doing themselves a disservice by doing that. But like actually finding out about them and the fact that you use them as well, your audio quality I can never question it. Like Inner Sound Audio quality is fucking banging. And I guess for me, from that perspective, that's kind of, if there was any message that I would give to a new band or people trying to make a difference or make themselves stand out is that, you know, is the audio 100%. Quality, putting your effort and your money into it, because actually it's a better return of investment than pumping out cheap shit and then having to do it again. And then also, Sean's going to say it, but I'm going to say it before him, marketing. Like,
yeah.
You guys are tenacious as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We tell the difference between bands, you know, and I think that's one of the reasons that, you know, Caskets have made it this far so quickly. And everything's branded in the same way, everything's marketed in the same way. You know, we speak to Chris and the thought process and stuff is there, and he works his fucking arse off, as do you, and we always mention that. And it's like, just interacting on social media, it might be the smallest thing, but, you know, it turns someone who's just become a fan into like a lifelong fan just because they got that one interaction.
Yeah.
Shit like that, it just makes you feel like you're actually real dudes, which you are. And it's just, we say it to a lot of bands. It's like a lot of the bands that we love don't market themselves very well. It's like, here's a single, now I'm going to disappear for 6 months.
Yeah.
And dude, like, how are you supposed to get anywhere?
I think a lot of bands as well, like, you know, every band, there's a thing where, you know, every band thinks their band is, you know, the next big thing, and it's like,
it's not the right thing in a way, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to blindly believe that it's possible, because, you know, end of the day, your job is to persuade everyone else why you should be the next big thing. But, you know, I think sometimes bands can become detached from the fact that, like, ultimately people don't care. You know, you've got to give someone a reason to care. And like you say, you know, replying to someone on a comment, you know, that's, what is it? Maybe I spend 10, 20 minutes a day doing that, just kind of flicking through, depending on what kind of post we've put out.
No,
But that,
you
like you
don't.
say,
You do a lot more.
I'm not sure
Because
you have a job, bro.
I
I'm
think,
actually not saying you have a job.
I'm guaranteed if I reply to something that you put on, within 5-10 minutes, there's a response.
yeah,
Like every person.
5-10 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, mate, like it's. I mean, it can. This album is the first time that's been like, whoa, holy shit, this is getting to like something that's like unsustainably to like keep up with, because it just got a lot more attention, but still tried and still have like, the biggest one for us is we've run a lot of YouTube advertising, because people are on YouTube to find music, people are listening to music, and the mentality when you're on YouTube is you're there for discovery, you're there to fall down a hole. So we spent a lot of money advertising, and then we get a lot of people commenting from that, being like, "Oh yeah, this is cool," and then you reply to them, and then like you say, instantly that's someone going, "Oh wait a second," they're taking time out their day to speak to you because they like what you're doing. It seems like a bit of a no-brainer to take some time out of your day to say like, "Nice one, I appreciate that."
You've actually got the brain for this. Just doing that, you've actually got the brain for this. That's why you lot bang it.
Cheers, mate. Yeah, it's I think like I don't come from any kind of like marketing background or anything like that. It was never something I was trained on. But like when we started the band, like we were like, how can we grow? Like ultimately, we want to grow overnight. We want to be going to sleep and waking up with more fans than we had the night before. And this is like obviously 2016 when Facebook ads and stuff weren't really a thing. So if you saw a Facebook ad, you didn't know why it was on your newsfeed, as opposed to just bombarded with shit. And we just we all used to pay a personal bit of money from our like own like bank accounts, from our own paychecks every month, like on top of all the other shit. Yeah, mate.
£40 a month.
Yeah, £40 a month, and that was just to go on Facebook ads. I was just pushing like whatever the latest single was, keeping it in circulation, and then changing it to like new people and stuff. And that like it really helped, because all of a sudden people are like, oh, I've heard of this band. Obviously it was still not to the scale of what we're kind of doing now, but it was definitely something that helped us kind of make a bit more momentum before even doing anything. Something I definitely advise to people in bands. And like you said, Anton, as well, like about recording quality, mate, 100%. Essentially, I always say to people, imagine if Coca-Cola decided to start a company, they're like, hi, we're Coca-Cola. You can try this drink, but it doesn't taste very nice, but one day it's going to taste really good. You go, dude, don't care.
Yeah.
You want them to go, here's fucking Coca-Cola, and you go, wow. That's what the recording quality is. It's like, make sure that it is awesome, because, music ultimately is that's what you're selling. That's what is, your definition
that's
of
your brand, isn't it? And
dude,
the reality is like, at the moment, we talk about saturation, like with the world of the internet and YouTube and everything else. It's an oversaturated market. There's musicians everywhere, and everyone has that same platform to project themselves. And the only defining factor, if you've got two good musicians that are of equal scale of awesomeness, and one sounds all right and the other sounds brilliant, your ears are just going to train to the one that's brilliant and just bypass that. And also there's an element of effort. Are these people, as much as I love to think that they are committed, you have to wonder whether they are, because how the audio sounds and it's stuff like that. Like there is the odd occasion, and I'm not going to go into it too much on here because I start calling stuff out, but there's the odd occasion where we've had bands where they are committed and they've been sold a dream from a big like production company or like a good engineering company for the mastering and everything else, and it's blatantly a cookie cutter. They've gone in there, they've sold them the dream and said, yeah, I've done production for these big bands. We've gone in, given them a cookie cutter, and then it sounds shit. And you just like, I feel really sorry for those, because they've actually they've gone in with the big name and not thought about all the other stuff.
That's it. Like I think something we kind of learned. We self-produced this record. So like I recorded all the guitars. Sam Gray still recorded the vocals. We did all like the post-production and all that stuff ourselves. And like, Sam and Joe get it now. There's like people who are like, oh yeah, we want to sound like InVisions, and they're like, we can mix it, but ultimately, like the sound and stuff comes as well from the groundwork you put in to get that. And I think, a lot of these producers are like, oh yeah, we'll produce you, but producing isn't necessarily just going like, I'll do the mix. It's like taking the song from, a good song to a great song, and like making sure that everything is like spot on. And I think that's not, like you say, particularly like mastering engineers and stuff like that. It can usually just be like, oh yeah, you get it mastered by a big name, it's going to sound way better. And it's like, well, it might do, but the song's still not there yet. It's not gonna.
We've had 3 occasions where we've called him out, and the bands have been like, "Yeah, we went to this guy that's done it for Bring Me the Horizon, fucking Asking Alexandra, and all of this, and it's been terrible." In fact, one of them you'll know actually is a Virus, because they also do the stuff for Inner Sounds. So their first song was one that Leon randomly found on like the Amazon Music or something. Or?
I think it was Instagram.
Yeah. And we gave it a listen. We were like, we can tell the potential, but it sounded so thin.
Yeah.
It was weird, and it was just a bit strange, and it like everything kind of just blended in. And then they reached out straight away. Like Lucas is such a nice dude as well. Another Lucas.
Oh, he's maybe
it's in the name. But it was just like, we saw him actually at the Caskets gig the other day. They came down to Blackpool to watch them, and they were just like, at the end of the day, we paid someone who was perceived as fucking amazing, and probably paid him more money. And
it probably is amazing when he can be asked.
When he can be asked,
yeah, that's the thing, because a lot of the songs that we've reviewed that have been like this, they've been songs where we can tell they'd be like amazing songs if they were mastered properly, but it's usually just the mastering that just lets them down, and that's it.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of a strange situation, because like with the recording process as well, like stuff like editing and the actual input sources of like, so you could get a great mastering engineer, but you could have it recorded really badly and then it could sound shit. Yeah. So it's like, it's the end-to-end process, and I think that's where like Sam and Joe particularly excel, because their editing style of like, they grew up on listening to all the bands now who have they had the best production. You're saying like, oh, there's a reason you'll gravitate towards bands that sound better. If we go back to early 2010 metalcore, there was a reason that every band who was about to blow up went to Joey Sturgis, because Joey Sturgis was the best producer. They went to him, they released their best album, and the band blew up. Everyone clocked onto it that there was a sound that you were, a bar that you were having to hit.
Yeah.
And I think, over the last, maybe 5-6 years, that's definitely changed, where there's not just like one elite guy. It used to be just like there was, the 1 or 2 guys to go to, whereas now it's a lot more accessible and it's a lot more different kind of sounds kicking around, which is pretty cool. But yeah, you can't skimp out on that. It just has to be the best, otherwise
you're better off spending your money on getting one tune out and putting the money in than getting a load of tunes out really cheaply.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And actually it goes to show, because like yourselves, your work ethic is, from my opinion, really, really, really strong. But you kind of have a projected timeline of when you do things, and then deliver it, and then get people listen to it, videos and everything else. And the same with Caskets, when they were formerly captives or whatever, they didn't actually release a fuck ton of music. They just spent a lot of time honing their craft with a particular single, and then getting out there doing gigs.
Good visuals on the videos.
Good visuals, and just spending their time and effort on that. And then spending it equally on marketing and everything else, which then allowed people to actually see the fruits of their labor. I'm waffling off on one, but basically.
There's nothing sadder, is there, than when you see a band who've got a fucking great song, it's mixed mint, the video is awesome, they release it, and it's just like, that's it. They put it on YouTube and done, and you're like, such a waste. Like,
there's so many bands.
Yeah.
Or like, even I think, as well, obviously the recording is very, very important, but marketing is equally, what's it they say about films, like the budget of creating the film is like half the budget of the marketing budget. And it's like, it just says something, doesn't it? You've got to, if you're going to put this passion and time into something, you're going to want people to see it.
I think a lot of musicians don't really have that skill set, really. I think it's quite, I don't think it's very common. I think a lot of musicians still have that mindset where they'll release a song and they'll, just get discovered there'll just be someone at a gig who'll turn up and hear you.
We talked about this the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's just not the way of the world anymore. So
yeah.
No, it's true. And I think, like, obviously, as we're talking about like recordings and stuff like that, and I think the way you do it, because obviously we've asked and we've mentioned it in some of the reviews and stuff, with like obviously Lucas doing, you know, most of the work just to obviously get something set up, and then obviously speaking to you guys after or speaking to you along the way. But obviously, I think that's quite interesting because obviously there's not many bands that I know that do that. I think Beartooth do, don't they? They're the only big band I can think of where Caleb does fucking everything, doesn't he? He records the drums, he records the guitars, he records the vocals, he records the bass, and then goes to the band apparently. So maybe this is more towards Alex, but like, how do you feel about that process then? Because obviously, I guess for you, you're going to hear stuff a little bit later down the line rather than get to create it initially.
Well, I'm also involved in the writing process, so I'll write songs and then send them to Lucas to track them. But I mean, I guess speaking for me, Ben and Josh, who don't hear something until Lucas sends it, it's when we have, you know, we completely trust that he's going to come out with something absolutely gold or gold-blooded.
Hey,
I like what you did there.
No.
That joke.
Yeah, basically, there's just complete trust there. There's no sort of like, oh, is it going to be shit? It's always absolute fire. It's easy.
Does he come in with it playing on the ghetto blaster and bopping along into the room like, guys, I've done it again.
There was a moment like that when I walked into practice, and we usually test songs on Chris Greaves, our photographer, because he's such an avid fan that his honest reaction is just so honest that, like, if he's not feeling it, you're like, all right, okay, maybe. But we came into practice and I was like, I just finished this new demo. It was a demo for Parasite, and I played it through the PA at practice, and Chris was just like giggling like a little girl. He was just having the best time ever. And but I mean, I know what you're saying about the writing thing. It was not something that we ever kind of like this is, you know, I will write the songs. Never that, you know, there's still always like the collaborative part in it. I think it's just, you know, when you get locked into a writing bubble in front of your computer, like, you have an idea of like where this starts and where this ends, you know, and like, you know, particularly for the sonic side of it, you know, I send the guys stuff whilst I'm doing it riff by riff kind of thing, you know what I mean? It's like, I can tell if something's mint because I get excited, and I'll let myself move on. If it's not good enough, I won't be able to move on.
It ends up on Instagram stories.
That's it, mate. Honestly, yeah, the Instagram stories, that's like the kind of reference point. But it's, I don't know, it's a bit of a strange one, I guess. I know that, like, obviously before Tom passed in Architects, they had a very, very similar thing.
Yeah,
you know, he was the songwriter. Like, every single band, you'll be surprised, but every single band has a like a lead songwriter in that sense. And like, you know, with us, it's, you know, probably equally me and Al. Like, he'll write complete songs, he'll send them to me. Like, I remember, which song was it you wrote? Last Light? Is that the first song you wrote for this record?
I love that fucking tune. I fucking love that tune. Just from the snippet alone, I was like, I'm excited for this. And then the album came out, I was like, yes.
Yeah, it's a beast, isn't it?
Respect.
Like, he literally, he sent me a clip of that, and I just messaged him like, dude, come around to my house now, we'll track the song. And then, you know, we literally tracked the song and sent it to the guys, like, yeah, the song done, and everyone's just like, what the fuck? Like, you know, we're all on such the same like wavelength with things that I think there's never like it's not like an ego trip or any kind of stuff like that. It's very still like, oh, we should, you know, try different ideas here, or like, you know, send references of like, oh, we should try a song like this, or little ideas from songs. But
so it's more about balancing all the moving parts, because obviously there's so many different things that have to go into it. If you have too much going on and too much input at the same time, it just takes forever to actually build it. So,
dude, yeah, I can't write a riff on the spot to save my fucking life. There's been
why,
you know,
why, Lucas? Why can't you?
some shit, dude. Shit. But like, you know, there'll be occasions where, you know, some riffs I'll spend a week writing one riff until I'm happy with it, and like, that's time wasted with people sat there, because it's you know, albeit someone could go, oh, maybe try this, but then that's usually what would happen if I'd send it to Al and be like, oh, you should try playing this thing instead. And usually by the time like we've written something, we're playing it in practices, and at that point it's like, oh, we're messing around with them anyway.
Yeah. Right, we're gonna have to change room. So you
just put number 2 at the top of the browser.
Yeah. We ain't cutting this out of video because it's too much fucking effort.
So that was the interview, guys. Fucking hell.
They just put 2 and not the Metal Review Cast 2. You want to drop him a message?
I want to cut this out. It's too much effort.
God.
Pop it over to him. Make sure he's got it.
Typical.
So typical.
You'll have to get the order right, I guess. Can you remember the order? Did you take a screenshot?
Yeah, I got the order.
Sweet.
Hello.
All right.
We're back. Which those two.
Leon, did you just get like a secret stash of Monster?
I got a mini fridge down there.
Oh yes, that's it.
Monster is fucking banging.
Yeah. Requested it for his birthday a few years back. It's probably one of his most favourite gifts.
Yeah.
Fucking mini fridge.
It's gonna be good for uni, man. That's gonna be good for uni.
I have to go down 2 flights of stairs just to get a beer. It's sick.
Yeah, it's a bit long.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose we should talk about the album.
Yeah.
I would love to do that.
Why are you guys so angry? That's the question.
I don't know. We're not angry. We're sad.
No,
I
don't know whether to give you a cuddle or like call the police. It's a mixture of both.
It's melancholy, happy aggression.
Yeah,
is how I would coin it.
I like the word melancholy. Yeah.
Yeah, like because even your bouncier songs, there's still like a melancholy depression behind it. Like when you're like, I'm bouncing around, but I really should be unhappy with the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a misnomer. Your brain's like on two different scales. But
mate, yeah, I to be fair, I've actually been looking for that word for a long time because there's I remember seeing it described on like an interview, not of our music. I think it was of like a Bring Me the Horizon record, and they were saying something very similar. And I was like, that kind of, it kind of spoke to me because I think a lot of the time before we've not really opened ourselves up about stuff as much as we maybe should have. And I think the way that we naturally know, I mean, you guys have spent time with us, like we're always joking around, like we're always, having a laugh and stuff. And I think that's the kind of thing, we poke fun at our own insecurities and our own like problems and stuff. And that kind of like, it's like laughing in the face of, like laughing in the face of you being your own enemy and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a dark album, but I think there was not really a conscious like, oh, okay, let's change the way, but I think we just needed to write something that kind of let us grow as as people. For one, like our lives are very, very different to what they were 3-4 years ago. Every album you hear it probably like 2 years after we've actually written it. So we're talking like the last album came out in 2019, so it's written like probably 2017, 2018. At this point, it was a very different thing, and we're not playing gigs. We're sat at home trying to figure out what the fuck do we do if we can't be in a band anymore. We've got to figure out where we fit into the world. And as a musician, it's kind of a pretty daunting and worrying thought because you don't really have a plan B. You don't have that option to go, oh yeah, I'll go and do this, because no matter what, it will never fill that kind of void.
Yeah, it comes across really well, to be honest. Like, as I say, I think it is more that every song lyrically, it feels painful. Like, if you really delve deep into it, it's a really painful, like it must be an absolute ball ache for Ben to learn all these lyrics. Because you guys go deep. Like, I was reading through them again today, and I was like, holy fucking shit. Like, how does anyone learn that much?
Yeah.
And And I kind of noticed actually as well, there's kind of a religious and like even like godlike theme the whole way through. Every single song, apart from like I think like one towards the end, maybe Fall With Me, and then obviously your interlude with Inertia, mentioned heaven, hell, God, or maybe heresy, something like that. And I was like, that's quite interesting, just because obviously, you know, we're all agnostic, but I have the lyrics from Nihilist, from Architects tattooed here about I found God clutching a razor blade, because we find the concept quite interesting, despite the fact we don't believe. So,
mate, 100% the same. Like, it's you know, like none of us are religious and don't believe, you know, but I think it's the perfect way in, like, there's no more like expressive metaphor for displaying like how desperate and, you know, the how important like the good versus the bad is. And I think that's something that definitely came anyway, I noticed it myself, that it was not something that was consciously like, oh, we should do that, but it was yeah, you're absolutely right. It's one of those things that we're not, you know, following that. We're not you know, religious in any kind of way, but it helps get the point across of like how serious and how you know, affecting these things can be.
I think we did at one point during the lyric writing process, when we were doing those vocal production sessions, we did actually say like we need to try and cut down the amount of references to religion and to God and to hell and all this sort of thing. So it's interesting to see that it's still over every single track on the album.
Yeah. I found it like pretty much 90% of the way through. I was like, this is interesting. It's like, I guess it's the emphasis, as you say. It's not, you know, like Architects do the same, and we've said the same. We're not religious in any way, but it does add a certain emphasis that otherwise it's probably quite hard to portray.
I think it's drawing parallels, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, it's the most famous and the most powerful sort of good versus bad story that, you know, there ever will be, isn't it? So
yeah,
when you're writing lyrics and you're trying to summarize in metaphors, it's just, I wouldn't say an easy thing to go for, but it's a really powerful thing to go for.
Yeah, and I would agree. It's not necessarily easy, but it's something that, you know, that will not tug on the heartstrings, but people will recognize instantly that it's something that they can relate to, regardless, because, you know, whether you're religious or not, you come across it, and you can. I think sometimes you even say, "Oh, I pray to God" or whatever, even though you don't pray to God, because it's just something that is part and parcel of our upbringing and our psyche and what we do. So it would be not foolish, but it'd be daft not to kind of use that terminology, because it's something that everybody's always familiar with, and you can align to straight away.
You absolutely hit the nail on the head there, because that was, you know, something that when it came to the actual lyrical inspiration for this album, like straight up was listening to Mac Miller and J. Cole. That was pretty much it. A bit of Ariana Grande and Billie Eilish. Like, which is, you know, a very, very strange thing to say when you're on about like the lyrics of a metal record. But you know, and that kind of, you say, it's we kind of made a conscious decision to where normally we've kind of shied away from using everyday kind of terminology. We kind of embraced it a bit more, and obviously, you know, religion being one of those aspects, but also just kind of, you know, I think metal can fall into the trap sometimes of being like
devil worship.
Between the distant sands, the echoes of the chambers were across the sea and shore, and you're like, oh, dude, that really speaks to me. You know what I mean? Like, we're trying to get a point across in a way that like someone could listen to it and go like, the biggest thing for me was I've really gotten to, you know, listening to songs that when I listen to a song, at the end of it, I feel like, holy fucking shit, I've learned something about myself from something someone else has written. And that was the biggest thing for me with this like album. I wanted to get the point across in an intelligent way that painted a picture, but also could give someone that moment where they go like, oh fuck, I've not thought about it in that way. You know what I mean? And that was like, you know, coming into the, I suppose, the religious terminology, but also just how kind of deep and a bit more expressive it is. You know, every line had to mean something. Every line had to be, you know, something that was like, wasn't just there to kind of, I don't know, hold place. You know, there's a lot of like you'll know, Anton, particularly when you're saying like you're a massive fan of hip hop and how like the storytelling and the actual execution of vocals is so much better than metal. Like, the fact is, like, I don't think I don't know if people consider it the same way we do. We plan out the flows of songs before the vocals majority of the time. They do change depending on what kind of goes on, but like it'll be a kind of like a rhythmic thing. You'll be able to kind of place it and then you'll work to that. And I think being able to try and tell a story in metal is really hard because you've got such a limited amount of time. The beat's always changing. You've got a lot more like drawn out kind of lines, and to compress that into these things, like you're saying, Sean, there's a lot of lyrics compared to a lot of bands. Yeah. But I'd like to think that the lyrics kind of tell a bit more of a story and they kind of resolve. You know what I mean?
It certainly resonates. Like I won't lie, like getting into this album and listening to the lyrics and stuff like that, it rings true more to understanding the personality behind it as opposed to it just being music, which I think is for me is really important as a listener and fan aside, as a listener. I'm always about the vibe I get from a tune and the depth of the lyrics behind it as well, and the inner meaning. Again, it's like how Sean's got the lyrics from Nihilist on his arm, is because that just caught us off guard. It's such a deep lyric, but that was what resonated at the time. And whilst we're not necessarily in that space and feeling all down in the dumps and everything else, I think it's important to capture that. And it is something that we mentioned I think years ago. We did an interview with On Hollow Ground, and it was a similar thing where that point in time where you were asking yourself questions, and possibly why the lyrics are so deep, asking yourself questions of where you are and some of the struggles that you're going through and things that you're thinking about. You can either dwell on that stuff, or you can use like the paper as a soundboard to actually convey your emotions and get yourself through it. And I actually, when we're talking about rap and hip hop and things like that, one of the reasons I find it really hard now, and this is probably where I'm segueing to, I find it hard now to write because I'm not in that space, that headspace anymore. Because
I feel like completely, mate.
Like it's a struggle to write about things that are pissing me off if I'm no longer pissed off about it, or I'm in a different space. Because actually, the very book that I'm writing is a therapy session for myself. And then I was allowing other people to hear it. You guys never heard my tunes, and you probably never will. But
what?
They're on the internet somewhere, aren't they?
There's some of them are there. There's some dark tunes, but this isn't about me. But you're right. Like even the writing, even when I wrote, it was around. And again, this being a percussionist, I had in my head what the music was going to sound like, and then and then I'd have an idea based on what the tune sounded like as to, right, well, this is the type of mindset I'm going to use for that particular tune in terms of the feeling and emotion, and then I just project my lyrics into it and make it fit around the rhythm.
They give you a vibe, don't they? You should be able to listen to a song and go like, this song is for this. Like, there's definitely songs before where we tried to write like they just don't fit with like the theme. Like I don't think with this album as well, we never sat there and were like, this is the themes for the album. We will address these topics on these songs. Like the biggest kind of issue I had with vocal writing is exactly what you just said, is that we were trying to write songs like we had on previous albums, and it just felt forced, didn't feel right. It was like, don't feel like that. So like, it was, I think the first like proper kind of like album track we got stuck into writing the vocals for was actually Deadlock. And I wrote the intro to that song so many times, and every time it was just like, nah, it's not doing it. I can't think of anything. And then it wasn't until I fully kind of let go and just, instead of like trying to think of a line or anything, just wrote how I was feeling. It kind of like all then just spilled out, and that kind of encompassed the entire thing. Like that literal line was me sitting there not knowing what to write, saying like, I've wasted time. And that's what I've done. I've wasted time, wasted my own sanity. At home in hell, I am my own worst enemy. And that was like, okay, fuck, here we go. And that from there, it was just, it kind of all, it has this overarching theme, the whole record, which it didn't mean to, but it was clearly something that's like, was very potent in kind of my subconscious, I guess, that it all ended up seeping in. Those moments where I was like, probably shouldn't put this lyric in this song because it just sounds like that one. I'm like, but it's not a situation like that when that's how, when it becomes a bit more of a bigger thing. It's just what it was.
Yeah,
Did you feel better afterwards? Did you feel better afterwards?
Yeah, big time.
There you go.
I feel like that's like a big part of it is not overthinking the lyrics, just letting it flow, just writing whatever comes to your head, and using that, because I think that feels more real to the person who listens as well. Whereas like if you overthink it, you might change some things to like what you think could work better, but I don't know, like it sounds less realistic. So I feel like that's a better way to do it.
Yeah,
sure. It's just more honest, isn't it? Like, end of the day, you're expressing yourself, and I think we still definitely go back and like tweak and fine tune and stuff, but it's that raw expression is what kind of music is, and I don't think this record's probably the first time, like as like a lyric writer, I've been able to kind of do that with the vocal element, as opposed to it being like, okay, time to write the vocals. Like it was like, oh shit, this is the same as like when I sit down and I play a sick riff, and I'm like, fucking hell, here we go, like getting the same buzz from it. It was just something we took a lot more seriously this time as well. Like me and Al spent a lot of days in the studio. Like actually, we used to like dry hire like a room in a sound, so we'd go in there and we just like figure out different alternatives for lyrics, try different like tonalities of like executions, different melodies. Like the biggest thing, obviously, Ben's not here today because he's at work, like, but having those clean vocals with like that pushed distortion on them, like weirdly, like like you said, a lot of people have said this seems like the angriest album we've ever done, and I think that's purely because there's not really a lot of clean vocals. But for us, it wasn't anything to do with the anger. It was to do with like our songs are intense. Through the verses and stuff, it's like punching you in the face. It's got you against the wall. It's doing its business. And then when it goes to get to the chorus, it was cool. It was like a bit of a nice relief. But we wanted the choruses to be like I'm so glad this just happened, as opposed to okay, cool, like clean chorus. We wanted it to be like, actually, I'd prefer it if it went back to that chorus. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We wanted to really make that a thing, like make it. After Gold Blooded, I think Gold Blooded was like okay, so we can write some really kind of like big ass choruses now. Like it's actually something that we could do, and that's something we just wanted to explore a lot more with this record. And I'm really really glad we did it. I think it's awesome. I think Ben sounds like an absolute monster.
Yeah,
even more so than normal.
Yeah, he does.
Proper comes across, as you say, with the whole. So I noticed that it's like, see, he kind of did an IList as well, and then the Dope, and then Deadlock as well. So it's like he kind of showcased like a couple of different styles. And when it came to the album, you're like, fucking hell, the whole thing is just like full on, like it's very pacey, very aggressive, as you say, in the vocal style. So kind of like you showcased us different things, and but then boom, when you actually hear the album, it's actually quite a nice surprise because it was so fucking aggressive, which I wasn't expecting after like an IList and stuff, and that whole like portion of the fucking song like we loved, where it like kind of broke down. It all went like angelic.
It went a bit trippy and shit. The fucking snares are going off
still
everywhere.
My favourite portion.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love playing that live. It's so fun.
It pops off, doesn't it?
It's just mint, mate. Like having those little bits of space for all those, like and like choir vocals, and it's just it was something that there's little things like that we've not done before. We're always trying to do shit we haven't done, and having those almost like saying there's like an awesome one at the end of Last Light as well. Yeah, that ending breakdown, like Al wanted to get rid of that at one point, and I told him he's wrong.
Mate, Last Light's just I fucking love
beautiful.
that tune.
The sampling on it's really nice as well, because obviously you used some of the sampling at the start, didn't you? Again, sounds really angelic, and that's what I think is cool.
That 1 minute 56 where the rapping kicks in and it's like mate, I was all over that shit. You had it, you nailed it when you called me out on it when I commented on the preview video. It's like
it's like the 160,
like, mate, I was sold. And I tried to listen to the album without focusing too much on that song, but that I don't know why, but that's my favorite song of the album for me. I just
that's mint, mate. It's a fucking awesome song. It's a well fun song to play. I think it's really cool as well. Like, obviously I wrote it to have that kind of pre-chorus, not chorus thing, which has got like a line of clean vocals in it, but you don't really get the clean vocal relief to that epic moment. And like, I'm well excited to play that live.
Yeah.
We're gonna miss it unless it's actually part of the fucking normal set list.
Can you like have somebody like just streaming it from like a I don't know, just streaming it to us so we can watch it on Facebook Live or something?
Oh, mate. I would love to. I want to do like a live DVD. I think that'd be sick.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Cool. In retrospect, did that obviously live stuff. Were we in a lockdown still? I fucking
we were still in lockdown.
And,
they did a live
awesome,
gig
just because we were waiting to see them live, and obviously they did that as well at like is it Woodley Moss Studios, I think. And it was just really cool vibes just to be like a live show from a band and stuff like that. Obviously, it was a bit of a different time, but it was just really good fun as well. So, man, you need to do that. I think it'd be awesome.
We were in talks about doing it, obviously, for like the album release if shows didn't come back, but they obviously did. And at that kind of point, priorities kind of switched a bit. But I think it should be something that's cool. Like, we've worked really hard to make these songs like good live. Like, they're fucking hard, man. They're really hard to play. Like, like it's. But that's the thing, always pushing ourselves. But like, we're doing like double shifts twice a week. Of like 4 hours of just like smashing them out because we're perfectionists. We want them to be, that good. And like, we're hoping that obviously this record's the one that gives us a lot more opportunities to play with like some of our like idols and play some bigger shows and stuff. And we're just making sure we're ready. That's all we can do. We've written what I'd like to say is a sick album, and now we just got to make sure that we can deliver.
Yeah, man. What's your favorite song, you guys? Favorite song, and what's your least favorite song as well? What song you weren't sure that you didn't want it to add to the album?
I can. My least favorite's Amur. I say like proper Yorkshire, innit?
That is probably Yorkshire, yeah.
Amur.
Yeah.
I think that one's sick. I love that song.
Mate, I was so surprised when we started, like when we released the album, everyone's like, this is the best one.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I was like, no, it's not. Stop being silly. No, I mean, it is cool. It's really heavy. It's like got those like death metal type chorusy bits in it, and like it's cool, but I don't know. I'm not really into just super heavy songs anymore. All emo these days.
I'd say my least favorite is Dealer, but not because it's like I don't like the song. It's just Lucas in that song are ridiculously hard. Lucas can't play them.
Oh, mate.
You got poor Josh there trying.
Oh, mate, yeah, honestly.
I'm trying to keep up.
Some of these songs are fucking Flappy Bird on the kit, honestly.
Yeah, the lyrical portion where it's like, I'm looking for a dealer, and it's like, holy fucking shit, because it just goes mental. And you're like, he's rapping in like a ridiculous pace. You guys are playing a ridiculous pace. You're all going to be dead. Like, he's going to take all the energy.
I said to Ben, there's going to be no vocal support on that section because like, the riff is so fucking hard. But that was a cool section. That like I remember when we were trying that out, like that vocal bit in the studio, like that was inspired by like Crystal Lake and like Limp Bizkit and stuff like that. Kind of like it's a heavy song, it's a dark song, but it's still that like chorus like jump. It's a really kind of like it's a cool little chorus part, and it's not something I necessarily think of as being super heavy. But
I love that song. Yeah, especially that portion. As I say, that portion is amazing because it's like the two like lines of like quick rap like screaming, and it goes into like a lot like slightly slower screaming and back into like rap screaming, and the balance is really, really nice because obviously even for old people like me and Anton, I'm old as well, I'm 31, he's 41, sometimes I do struggle to learn the lyrics and I have to kind of go and look at them, and it takes me like 10 listens. That portion I learned so quickly just because it's so clear, but as you say, it's fucking chaotic.
Well, that was well important, like to make it, because you can have songs where it's like a gang chant moment for live, but I think if you doing it clean and stuff, it's particularly for what we're doing, it would just sound really cringy. Like that, it doesn't matter if you can scream or whatever. It's you in the crowd, you can shout along to that, and you can have the best moment. Like that was like a really cool idea that like, you know, even though Ben's still screaming it, it's got to be clear and it's got to be audible, you know, so that someone can walk away. You're gonna walk away from the song going ooh wah, oh, you know what I mean? And then
and that's something we've always said when listening to you guys. Pretty much is the clarity of Ben's vocals, like being able to listen to somebody who is absolutely tearing a new one out of the track, like, but still be able to hear the words he's saying.
Yeah,
you know, that I think that what's the word I'm looking for? It's just a night and day difference against some other artists and stuff like that, where the scream is really good, but I haven't, you know, I'm just listening to the scream and how deep and growly it is. I have no idea what the fuck they've just said. Whereas with Ben, you're like, okay, and that's where I've always used the adage of him being the fucking devil, because it's like he's actually just talking to me like a fucking devil. Like, like, okay, motherfucker, I'm having nightmares now. Shit.
That's something we owe to like Sam Graves at Inner Sound. You know, like when we first started recording, like, you know, Sam still does these sessions with Ben for vocals because they just work so well together. Like, it's just, you know, vocals are a very different thing to record as well. It's a bit weird when you're in that, you know, box on your own, and you know, it's like, you know, you're getting fucking tension headaches from screaming in a room for 9 hours and shit. And it's like, yeah, do the best thing you've ever done, but something Sam said to us, he's like, you know, you can do your screaming or whatever, but you've got to be able to understand it. Like, you listen to any of the biggest bands who are metalcore bands, you know, listen to Wage War, listen to Fit for a King, listen to Bullet, listen to Askin, like, you can understand every word.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's like, it amazes me that it's not a universal thing. Like, don't, you know, if you're Lorna Shaw, you don't need to say shit. Just make some piggy noises and like let's fucking go.
I was blasting them the other day. I was like, listen, this is, I love this. It sounds so nice and easy, and then you just go.
Oh mate, yeah. It's beautifully gross, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, like, you know, for metalcore, I think particularly, you know, it's quite well, I mean, it's definitely becoming more of an emotive genre. You need to be able to tell. You know, Sam Carter, you can tell every single word he says, and how you meant to connect with something if you don't know what they're saying. It just becomes a rhythmic instrument, doesn't it? It's just going ba 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 ba.
Well, yeah, and I mean, speaking of Sam Carter, I think I was getting into the screamo side of metalcore and metal music in general, but it was when I heard Sam, and it was actually me and Sean was having a gym session whilst we're at a gaming festival. It's just, I know the things aren't intrinsically compatible, but you know, having a gym session before going gaming, and he was like, "You like in metalcore, you need to listen to this," and I was like, "How the fuck? This is completely different to what." And I actually the screams emotionally got me because I could hear everything that you were saying, all the anti-establishment stuff, all the heartache, all the fucking soul that went into it, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So yeah, you're right. I think the way that the genre, I feel, is going is into that emotive state, and it is absolutely important to get clarity on it. But we've talked about the songs that you dislike.
Oh yeah, we still love them, tunes. But favorite tunes.
Your favorite tunes, or which one's the most fun for you guys to play?
Yeah, maybe that's it. The live play. What's gonna?
Well, it'd be
apart
hard
from
to tell,
Annihilist, because obviously
we've only played 3 of them live so far. Annihilist is like, it's really fun to play. I'm really looking forward to playing Half-Life because it's quite technical on guitar. It's just a bop. It's just an absolute teeny bopper.
Yeah, I'd say Half-Life and Dope as well in terms of like being fun to play. Just Dope, obviously, it's not that difficult on guitar, but it's just getting that, you know, those rhythms are so tight and so punchy. It's sort of when you manage to click in with Josh, it just sounds unreal and it's incredibly satisfying.
That end breakdown's just like laughable.
And the end breakdown as well, obviously, yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah,
that's gonna be ridiculous actually live.
Yeah, I think off the actual like album, like it definitely changes. I think, yeah, like you said, Last Light's probably still one of my favorites. Kind of goes in like various waves though, because I have like different kind of shelves to put them on. Because there's ones that I love, but we had them earlier than the other ones, so like,
right, yeah,
they're kind of not bored. Like, we've had this album going on. I think I wrote the first riff for this album 2 years ago, listened to it every day pretty much since. So like, hopefully, it's got a bit of a decent shelf life. But yeah, Last Light, I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to, playing like Fall With Me and Inertia in a kind of scenario where like, in a scenario where it's really personal. Do you know what I mean? I think because those songs are quite like, quite personal and quite deep. I can't wait for that moment. I think I can't wait for Ben to have that moment, to be honest, because they're like Ben's, babies. Ben loves those songs so much. They mean more to him than any of us. And I think I can't wait to see him have that moment on stage with those songs. And I think that see him get that release, I think something that he deserves.
Beautifully created, actually. I was thinking about this because it's the ending that gets me. It's like pretty much the second half of the song where it just repeats the same lyrics for, I think, like twice over for a couple of different portions, I noticed. And then there's a big instrumental portion before it just kind of starts to fade out. And it feels like it really works well because it is like, I'm just done with this. Like, I'm like done, like as a human or a person. Like, where it kind of ended made me feel like that. I was like, fuck, I feel like I've been on this journey with you guys. I was like, I was tired. I was like, thank God we've ended here. But it works so well because it's not like everything else. It's really nice and like calm towards the end, just to kind of fade out and drift out into this. Yeah, I'm fucking done. I'm tired. I need to rest. And it was like really beautifully done. So that live will be. I think a few people might have a little cry.
I was going to say, here we go. There's me.
Yeah.
It'd be like I'm watching Disney with the kids when they were younger. I don't know why it is, man, but I just cry to Disney. I'm like, I just start bawling. I can watch really sad movies of serious events, and I'm absolutely fine. Stick me in get me watching Toy Story 3 when they're going down the fucking little bit in that realization. I think it's what captures me. I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but you'll get it. Is the look in each other's eyes when they know they're going to die.
What are we on about Disney?
It just makes me cry. And I'm like, no, but what I'm trying to get back to is I'm like that. If a song gets me emotionally, there's just no stopping it.
Yeah.
It's like how me and you always cry when Beartooth play Hated live.
Yeah.
We always just have a massive cry and then we set Sean off with it as well.
Yeah, Sean doesn't look at us.
I just look away.
He looks away.
Just about controlling me.
Me and Dad are just bawling like mad at Hated. And,
but again, that goes back to songs that resonate with you, right? Because that song, one of the reasons why it resonates with us so much, and we won't go into too much detail in the interview, but Leon was going through a really, really hard time in his life there. He was getting persecuted by kids and all sorts of stuff. And his outlet was listening to metal. And Beartooth came on, and that song was literally just how he felt at that time.
Yeah.
And so whenever we went to go see him live, and it was like, oh my God. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just brought all that emotion to fruition.
It feels like you've come full circle, doesn't it? It feels like, it's like I said before, like when you hear a song and it's like you feel like you discover a part of yourself, or like gives you an answer for something that you've been feeling. It's one of those things as well. I think once it happens, you can't get rid of it. Like, there's always going to be, that song's always going to have that special place, and you're always going to go back to it, and it's going to make you feel a particular way. And I think that's why it's incredible as a listener and as a musician when the songs manage to do that for someone else. Yeah.
I've got another question as well. So you touched on earlier, and this is nothing, I've not written this down, I just thought of it. You touched on earlier about you spending a lot of time listening to your music. Now, not a lot of artists that I've come across spend too much time like actually enjoying their own music. Do you make music that you enjoy, and do you spend a lot of time listening to your own tunes as just music that you blast on a day-to-day basis?
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100. Yeah. I mean, if we didn't enjoy it, then how would we expect other people to enjoy it? I mean, like that's the one thing we said about this album, is that we wanted to have longevity. We wanted to have a long shelf life. And, as Lucas said, the fact that we're blasting that ourselves, even the demo versions 2 years ago in the gym every day, like, it just goes to show that it does have that shelf life.
That's
it. Like, it's how we can tell when something's good, because we want to listen to it. Like, I think I get the whole idea of, it's like, oh, you hear your voice on recording and you don't like it and stuff. For us, it's like, I get it, and I'm proud of what we've managed to achieve. Like, when something's mint, like when we like crush something, I'll literally just listen to it and laugh like a fucking psychopath because I just can't believe that I've like managed to do something like good that I'm like that stoked with. And like, I don't know, like it's not. I hope it's not like it's not an ego thing or anything like that. It's literally just like just really proud and really excited and like, you know, I suppose another thing you said before, you know, about closing the door on that like final song. I feel like that album has kind of been that for us. Like, you know, we experienced a lot of shit going through this album, and like it's given us a space to put that and that be kind of contained within this record. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's not something we've had before. So yeah, like I do like listening to it because it's kind of, yeah, I mean, I probably get something different from it than, you know, Al gets from it, than Ben gets from it, than Josh gets from it. But I love that. I love the fact that music is completely subjective. You know, I think, you know, when someone's asking about what does the song mean, it's always going to be different. I think that was the coolest thing for me seeing, it was an Architects interview where they're asking about what the song means. And I think this was when Dan was saying, oh, this is what the song's written about. Then Sam was like, well, this is what it means to me. And it was completely different things.
I think I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, that's fucking awesome. I was like, because it's not trying to be like, this is the song that we have written. It's like, yeah, that's what it's written about, but this is how it gets me. And like the fact of, you know, even having known what something's about, but still being able to take away something different from it because you connect to it in a different way, just kind of shows how amazing and like, you know, communicative music can be. I think it's, first time we've been able to kind of say that, and yeah, it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't know if you've heard much of the Caskets album, but for example, like the final say really resonates with me, and not because the lyrics itself is more around like an abusive relationship with the father and everything else, but whilst I never had an abusive father, like I didn't have much of a father in my life. And so it's still that, you know, that emotional capture and the asking questions and not really getting any responses back and having to make my own opinions of what fatherhood is like still resonated with me. So like you were saying, it's not necessarily just because a song has a particular topic, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what somebody gets from it, but you can still connect to it.
That's it. And I think, you know, you can listen to a song when you feel one way out and it means this to you. And then you listen to it another way when you feel another way and you go, oh, shit. Yeah. It means completely different. Like that's to me is amazing because it's, you know, it's not the song that's doing it. I guess it's the mind of the person. But I just think it's a cool, you know, factor that like the way we probably listen to this album now is probably a lot different to how we were listening to the album when we were still like going through the writing process and still experiencing, you know, a lot of the stuff. So yeah, I think it's more of like a cathartic thing now, and it's more like, yeah, sick, I'm super stoked on that, as opposed to kind of like, yeah, and particularly, you know, we work on albums for it can get a bit long, you know what I mean? It's a lot of hours and a lot of like other minuscule things, and so a lot of the time when you're listening to it whilst you're doing the writing process and stuff, you're checking to make sure you're not shit. That's literally it. Quickly check to make sure it's still good. You know, all right, sound, it's okay. Like, sweet, I'll be able to get to sleep tonight then.
I know Al jams this as well because he mentioned he was hitting PBs when he was jamming this. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I still listen to it in the gym, still to this day. Yeah.
One of the gym bangers.
So that's the secret to your biceps, isn't it? Both of you is making sure you listen to your own music and getting a hard over it.
I want to see Al's boulder shoulders, man. He's hiding them from us. It's fucking sad, honestly.
I knew you'd ask me, so I hit them. Yeah.
I've got a question for you. I've seen some interviews from bands, like for example, System of a Down, where they've spoken about how when they've made albums and they've released albums, they've cut out songs and then released them years in the future. Have you included any songs in this album that were intended to be in any previous ones, or have you cut any out that you think might work better in a different one in future?
It's not something we've ever really done, is it? It's more so we write however many songs are going to be on that album, and each song has to be to that album standard. It has to be good enough to make the cut. It's not because I know that there's a hell of a lot of bands that'll write like 30 songs for an album, won't they? And they'll pick 12 and the rest of them will be B-sides, and some just will never see the light of day. We've never approached it like that. It's always been sort of one by one. Yeah, this is going on the album, or if halfway through writing, you'll go, it's not going to make the cut, so move on to the next one.
It's weird, isn't it? I think that's not an orthodox way of doing it.
Yeah.
I feel like that lets us really focus on them, because it's like you say, you won't make it to the end of something if it's not good enough. Because you just tell, like, it's a gut feeling and a gut instinct, and if it doesn't flow, like, I'll do like so many different checks where I'll just blast the music in here and I'll be walking around the room listening to it, and if I'm not getting gassed by each next section, then doing something wrong. It's like, no, I don't think it's like, we wrote Gold Blooded, which would have technically been for this album. That was like the first song for like in the same kind of writing sessions, but we always kind of release a single in between to kind of, say where it's kind of going. But I don't think we've maybe written one song historically that we've not released.
What's that?
It wasn't. I've got it on a SoundCloud somewhere. It was like one of the first songs we wrote. It was the same we wrote with "Hate Me for Save Me" as well.
Ah, yeah, no, I remember. Yeah,
but that was song. But then we ended up taking little bits of that song and using them in another song anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
So no, there's not a secret revolt of hidden InVision songs, unfortunately.
So I, personally speaking, I like. Again, it's going back a long time when I used to write, but I actually preferred writing in the way that you was doing, as opposed to throwing absolutely loads of ideas out and then doing like either natural selection or just kind of, because then it becomes more of a chore. And whilst obviously it's hard work, it still becomes more of a chore because you put in all this effort banging out all these tunes and then selecting which is which is your favorite or best ones to choose from it, and then it becomes more of a, not even a labor of love, it just becomes a chore as opposed to actually creating a storyboard along the route. But on the flip side, not everybody can do it in the way that you do it either, because there's a lot more, I guess, not pressure, but there's a lot more intensity involved in getting every single song right.
You definitely spend like a couple of weeks stuck, like absolutely just stuck, and like everything in your personal life suffers because you're stuck on this song and you can't get past it. And it's like, it can be a bit of like a struggle, but it's that kind of, I think it's just a bit of a perfectionist mindset. It's like every riff has to be better than the last riff you wrote. Every part has to be better than the last song. Like, it's not, then
what the fuck are you going to do after this album?
No, I don't think we're fucked. We are fucked. Yeah, literally, no idea, mate. Cleanse the palate. We definitely talked about what we'll do next, and what kind of things we want to explore and stuff. But
maybe you have to purposefully create some catastrophic events in your life for you to write about. Just do it on purpose.
It's all right. We'll just get to the Dover border and try and take 100 t-shirts across to Europe, and that'll give us enough fuel to write angry songs again, and then try and tax us.
Can't get through customs.
That's it, mate. Be a sad, angry album next time as opposed to just sad.
Speaking of that, actually, we're going to need to move rooms again. Actually, should we do that now quickly, and then we'll wrap it up? But I've got a few more questions. Always love talking to you guys.
Back to the original room.
Now we do shit.
Just change your mind.
It's too dark. I was gonna wear for the final segments, wear my InVisions glasses, but I guess for people who are watching the interview, always buy merch.
Definitely do.
Merch.
Yeah.
It certainly helps us out. We've had to move all our merch to Inner Sound because it got pretty out of hand with how much stuff we had to ship out for the pre-orders, which is incredible. But you normally contained in my dad's house is their bedroom, and
he's getting stacks of boxes everywhere and shit.
Dude, honestly, it's like a wall of boxes. It's we've got a pretty good system going now. Once a week, me and Al will go and ship orders out usually before practices and stuff. But yeah, no, it's definitely picked up. But that, like you say, that helps us massively. This album, we spent more money on this album than we have any right to. Like it's insane. So, you know, that's kind of the situation with like all the pre-orders and all the merch bought after that just helps us recoup and ultimately tour and, you know, make more music videos and shit.
And plus you can flex like a bad man. These are genuinely, and Sean can attest to this, right? These are genuinely the shades I wear when I'm driving my car. These are my sunshades. I wear these, I rock them.
Yeah.
And when I was wearing my COVID mask, somebody like gave me a thumbs up, and I thought they actually recognised who you are. It's like, oh, V for Vendetta. I'm like, no, InVisions. V for Vendetta. And they're like, who's InVisions? I'm like, the metalcore act, man. You need to check them out. This advertisement is working.
We need to give you some fucking business cards or some shit.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm on that shit, you know. Oh man.
Yeah. No, we would say that, don't it? It's like, and I think it's nice as well that like shit like vinyls and that are coming back, because I can't buy any more merch. Like I can't buy like the stuff like tees and hoodies, and I've just got too much fucking shit. I'm just getting too big that I can never fit into anything anymore. It's getting to that point. I'm getting to large, and because I'm so fucking small in it, everything's now a dress. So,
oh mate, that's where you want to be at. Long lines in the way.
Yeah, I'm just naturally creating them by being so fucking short though. Having to size up.
Don't worry, I'm in a similar boat, but minus the sizing up.
Yeah, like the vinyls and stuff are so good, and that's what I like. It's just like I want to order like a signed vinyl and just have something like that I can just keep around and like put some of like for your guys. I'm going to put one on the wall as well. Have the first one on the wall that's signed and stuff like that, and then I'll have another one to just like listen to. But
I'll be getting back here.
Oh man, I'm so stoked! Like we actually got told today that the third version of the test press is being sent out to me, so it should arrive tomorrow. And then after that, once we've cleared that, it shouldn't be a bad thing because we're like the top of the pressing list. And they're getting pressed in the UK, which is super cool because normally everything gets pressed in Europe or America. And obviously, like, you know, back in the olden days, I think it was like UK vinyls was like the thing in it. So I think it's really cool. For the first time we've ever done vinyl for an album that's well important to us, and they're actually being pressed in the UK. Right. That's
wicked.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so I mean, we've had to listen to all the test press. Like the last one, there was no real issue. It was just some like panning issue on the side B that we just couldn't accept it. Like we're like, you know, we've waited this long, we need it to be right. And it's kind of sucks because we've got a lot of people saying to us like, you know, what's going on with the vinyls and stuff, and we don't want people to be bummed out. But with the current climate, I think everyone's kind of used to it. I think everyone would prefer it to be right than
mate.
Like,
the worst thing you could do is put something out that you weren't completely happy with, and then having to deal with it retrospectively. I mean, I know it's not the same thing, but I really respected the fact that you instantly fucking emailed everybody about those masks and were like, guys, we know they're fucking pants. Don't worry about it. We got you, and sent it out. Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
like, but things like that, you could turn a blind eye and just go, well, it is what it is. It's just fucking mask. But you didn't. You actually sorted it out. But for a vinyl, like you say, if there's a part of you listening to it that's panning wrong and stuff like that, and you just go, well, it's best we can do, guys. Again, somebody's probably just going to go, well, what the fuck?
The thing is as well, obviously they work on a stamper, so you get a stamper made, and like, you know, I think these initial units we've got, there's like 500 units. There's only like a few kind of left, like we're actually getting through really well. But then we're going to get more done. So if the stamper's wrong, we're going to have to go start the whole process again for the next lot. So it's like, you may as well just get it sorted now. And, you know, and like I say, it's, you know, it's important for us. It's like a big moment for us to actually have a physical vinyl. It's not something we've done before. I'm kind of glad in like retrospect that we haven't, because I feel like now this album deserves it. It makes it just a little bit sweeter. So yeah, I'm super excited to see them. I can't wait for that. Hopefully it's going to be, I would hope in the next couple of weeks. I'd mint if they all arrive before the shows, but who's to fucking say?
Yeah. As long as they get sorted, as you say. How did the European tour come about?
Oh, with Aviana?
Yeah, because as I say, like, interestingly, I'd randomly gotten into Rising Insane recently, and Anton was into Aviana, and I noticed that Rising Insane came onto his playlist as well the other day when I was up north. So,
and I was like, this is Aviana. He's like, oh.
And then it was like, what the fuck? We've literally just started getting into these bands in like the past few months, and all of a sudden you're fucking touring with them. It's like, you're just in our head. It's fucking weird, dude.
Oh, dude, yeah. Like, I've been listening to Aviana for a while. Like, I really like the guy who, I don't think he's produced the recent songs, but Jeff Doon, who I don't know if he mixed or mastered, just produced them on some of their previous stuff. So I kind of found them through that. Yeah, it's fucking super heavy and it's awesome. Like Joel's a monster. But yeah, no, it was just like they're booked by the same agent as us. They obviously been releasing loads of really cool songs. I'm a fan of them, and they seem to be doing a couple of we're doing a couple of festival dates that they were on one of them, and they're also kind of looking to do some stuff. So it made sense to kind of get back out to Europe and test the waters and see what actually happens with doing it. 'Cause we haven't been there since obviously Brexit and COVID, so there's a lot of red tape for us to try and figure out what the new pro. Like, honestly, dude, we used to literally roll up to Dover, quick red eye check, and on you go. Like it was absolute breeze. But these days, there's all sorts of. We were going through all the forms and stuff today. There's all sorts of like import forms, all sorts of wild shit that we're gonna have to. Stop being musicians and be businessmen to sort out, which is always fun.
You're all right. You got a business head on you.
I know, yeah, but I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't have to wear it. I wish I didn't have to wear that hat so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, it'd be really good. Really good to get back out. Obviously we've got a couple of dates in a few weeks' time in the UK. We'll probably do some more UK stuff later on in the year, I'd imagine. But having just done a full tour in December, I don't think we're in too much of a rush unless it's like something that kind of comes up where you can't say no to. But hopefully we just get to visit some more places because well fun being in the van with your best mates and getting to play some shows and see some cool shit.
Yeah.
True story.
That'd be awesome. No, it's cool. I think you're right though, because I think that's how it felt with the Caskets album release. They always do well with crowds and shit, but the Key Club felt special. It was like a mates fucking fest, and then all the family members were there, and the family members are just randomly talking to us, and you just come across someone else that from Instagram or something because the band, and there's a Lost Souls Club and shit like that. So it was a proper mates fest. So those two shows will make it feel ridiculously special for people, rather than we're doing our album release, we're going to go to shit tons of places, and then obviously everyone kind of goes to different places around the UK, and then it's cool. Everyone just travelled. We all had to travel somewhere.
Yeah,
it's, sick.
That was always the plan. Obviously, we did just a Key Club release show for the album last time, but we always said this time around we were going to do a North and South because we were it just makes sense. I think we wanted to make sure that we could offer if someone couldn't necessarily travel from the South, and we wanted to do something that was a bit more than just one show. I think the difficulty with Leeds as well is you get better, but I think a lot more people from down south, that kind of bottom end of the country, more likely to travel to London than they would be to travel to kind of Leeds. So it gives an opportunity to kind of celebrate it with a lot of our fans that we maybe haven't seen for a while. So looking forward to that.
You can't fuck with Key Club's audio. It's just fucking awesome in there.
Dude, so good. Yeah.
That new system is sick, man.
Yeah. Simon, he's the house sound engineer. He's just upgraded all.
I was chatting to him.
He's a G, man. He's so sound. We're taking Ben Cummings out, who does sound for Caskets for these two shows as well. So it'd be cool to work with him. He actually did that remix. Have you heard the Sven remix of Faith in Another or Faith in 1984?
Yeah.
I haven't.
Yeah, that was done by Casket sound engineer, who's coming out and doing sound for us on these dates as well.
Shit.
So yeah, that's how we met him.
I remember seeing him in a gig actually.
Yeah, man, it's like a fucking synthwave remix. It's now got almost 1 million streams on Spotify. They want to be have fifth song or something to hit 1 million streams, and it's a fucking synthwave remix. Crazy.
Wicked. I didn't know he did the sound. Yeah, I remember seeing his face at gig. So yeah, that'd be quality.
Well, he's just bought a Boda Skins leather jacket as well, so instantly we had to message. We had to message him and be like,
"This is why we're not in the band yet."
Yeah, it's the leather jacket club, dude.
Sorry, your leather jackets are too tight. I'd be uncomfortable.
The price you pay.
Generally, don't know how you guys do it. Honestly, I'm just there sweating in a vest, and you guys are fucking rocking out in leather jackets. And
It's
Yeah.
it's like the fucking music is masochistic.
Yeah.
They just like torturing themselves.
Yeah, it's like that scene in Da Vinci Code, isn't it? Where what's his chops? He's got that fucking thing wrapped around his leg, punishing himself.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I don't know why, but it's just I don't know. I suppose it's the way we were kind of brought up. It was if you were in a band, you wore a leather jacket, and if you were in a band and you wore a leather jacket on stage, you were even better. So
Yeah.
old habits die hard.
Mate, I mean, it's not something I see that often anymore. So it's become something that you're championing and becoming quite unique to yourself, really.
Yeah. I think the funny thing is that you normally see it, like bands will get really successful and then all of a sudden the singer will get a leather jacket. It happens all the time. It's like bands get to a certain point and then it's like the labels go, do you know what we need? Star power, leather jacket in a minute. And honestly, it happens all the time, man.
You'll just get sponsored by like a motorcycle company or whatever, you know, where they've got their air-conditioned fucking jacket later on. So you look the part, but actually inside you're nice and cool and you're surviving.
Yeah, when you're playing dealer, you're going to need that.
Oh, God. Yeah. Nah, that's fine. Nah, we're all good.
I already know one of the things, obviously you've mentioned it a few times, but like anything fun or stupid happen in recording any videos? I know one of the things that happened to Ben, so I know you posted that on the social media and in some of the comments, but anything else? And Ben nearly drowned.
I thought you were talking about the funny thing that happened to him on the other album.
No, what happened on it? There you go. There's a story.
I don't think I can tell you that one.
Well, did he fall naked on a double-handed dildo or something?
Yeah, that was it, mate. Yeah, he did, yeah. So it happens at every video as well. That's
strange, yeah.
Well weird, yeah.
No wonder he's fucking aggressive.
Yeah, Slips falls out of the van straight onto a WD. But I don't think there was anything particularly. I mean, apart from before the Annihilist video shoot, we hadn't seen each other in about maybe like 6-7 weeks or something.
Yeah.
So I was down south, so we drove down south like the night before because we had to be at the shoot location at like 9 a.m. or something. Obviously, we hadn't seen each other in ages, so naturally we booked a travel lodge close to the area and do what all bands do after 10 p.m. and go to the car park of the travel lodge and drink way too many beers. And none other than yours truly ended up laying in his own sick. And
what was it that you said when we asked you if you were okay?
So apparently I'd disappeared, but I think I was just went like a cat, took myself off to die. And Mike messaged me. He was like, like, you're right, mate, where are you? I just messaged back saying, very, very situation in space.
That sounds familiar, doesn't it, Leon?
Let's not tell that story on
Someone
the podcast.
ended up in their own sick this weekend.
No. Let's not tell that story on the podcast, all right?
Hey, it happens to all of us. We've all done it.
Yeah. It's all good, dude. Don't worry, you won't even grow out of it. It's a lifelong.
No, you do grow out of it, I think.
Well,
right.
I don't know.
No.
I think I'm only just growing out of it at the age of 40, and that's only because I've got people stopping me.
You just get taken to hospitals instead now. That's
Exactly.
your kind of night out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were all super hungover having to shoot that video, and I got set up at like the back spot on like the back tower, and like the way you shoot videos is like you'll do like the wide shots of everyone and then like shots of individual people, but because where I was stood is where like the drummer usually is, it's normally the drummer who's in every single shot because they're at the back, but I was in every shot. And in between every shot, I was just trying not to die. And then there was fire blasting up behind me. And, and you just like absolutely Groundhog Day. Just, yeah. It was the
Probably
worst.
got PTSD from that moment. Every time a fucking explosion,
Literally, mate. Yeah, literally. Pull up to a Travelodge car park and it's just like me staring out of like a rainy window. Like,
No, please.
Yeah. But no, I mean, there were really, really cool videos to shoot. I think it was nice that we like managed to step up the game with the videos as well. Something that we were like, we knew that the music was definitely a level up. We needed to make sure all the visual elements as well were like, instead of being portraying the band where we are, we wanted to portray the band where we want to be, and I think that was definitely something we kind of managed to do, and helped a lot more people kind of pay a bit more attention to us, because you could just see, when you look at the videos, you're like, fucking hell, these guys are really going for it.
The ante,
yeah.
Did anyone nearly drown in the water tank?
Yeah, Ben did.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, dude. Like because we were just in it, and it was like it wasn't covered when we were in it, and we were just like splashing around. Also, it turns out guitars float. That's really annoying to try and play a guitar which is just floating. But yeah, when Ben was in it, we extracted all the water out from one tank and into another tank, and we were flooding it back in. And we were using we bought a pump for the facility, didn't have a pump to do it. We bought this fucking mental pump that people use to stop flooding and shit.
Yeah.
And we were just flushing it in, and we'd had to cover it up as well because the way that we were getting the shots, and there's just this hose in the corner firing gallons and gallons of water in, and Ben's trying to perform to the music over the sound of the water flooding in and on his impending doom. And the guy controlling the pump and stuff, we're all basically so interested, and we're all trying to catch a peak that he gets to top of the thing, and Ben's there and they're fucking turn the pump off, and he's like, oh shit. The water was freezing as well, so Ben almost got hypothermia from that. We did it we shot that video on sometime in February or January.
Right, so it's really
2021. It was snowing outside. You know what, industrial, workshop type buildings, not warm. It was in one of them, and it was snowing outside. The water was heated up initially, but by the time we moved between all these tanks, it was fucking freezing. Props to him, because the aggression and the pain you're seeing in that video is
real.
Yeah, man. That is a man worried about dying.
Yeah. At what stage, when you're making your songs, do you think about the music videos? Do you picture the music videos when you're making them, or do you wait until you've got all of the songs and all the albums and then think about the videos individually?
It's definitely waiting until we've got all the songs, really, isn't it? Because we don't necessarily know during the writing process which ones are going to be singles. Obviously, we have an idea. For example, Lucas, when you wrote Deadlock, as you said yourself, it was kind of the follow-up to Gold Blooded. It had to be a single.
Yeah.
And then from when the lyrics came together, I guess for Deadlock, we actually had a completely different video concept in mind. We were actually have the emblem on the front of the album, the sort of weird sort of cross-functional shape. We were going to actually have I can't remember, how big was it? 6 foot, 7 foot?
No, I won't say. It was 14 foot. It's a a 2-story building. Yeah.
Yeah, we were going to have that basically in the center with us around it, and it was just going to be wildly expensive. And then that one didn't actually come to fruition. So we got the Deadlock shoe that we did, which I think looks way better than what the original was.
Yeah, we ended up pulling the trigger on it because it was the production company we were talking to about it. They're yeah, we can do it. We didn't really see any kind of prototypes and stuff, and we're about to spend more money on this than we spent on anything in our entire lives. And literally, we were right, we haven't seen enough. It's a week out, so we just pulled the plug. And we knew they wouldn't have it snowing because there was the line in it, I'll pray the rain turns into snow. It's kind of a bit of a metaphor, in terms of. But I think that for me was kind of cool line, and that was something that we could directly incorporate. We didn't ever plan on having element videos, you know what I mean? But it just we were just trying to tick off bucket list shit. We're this album for us is about the struggle, about what happens if this doesn't happen again. So where they're going, what do we want to do? Yeah, play guitar underwater, fire, and then fucking snow.
When you jumping out of a plane?
Hopefully soon. Actually, Ben is jumping out of a plane soon, I think.
Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah. So maybe we'll just get a fucking GoPro on him, and it'll be a 20 quid video. Just him screaming, absolutely howling.
Fucking do it. That'd be sick. That'd be good.
Yeah, man.
But, I think we'll leave it there because we can let you guys go, because otherwise...
Yeah, we can talk forever.
We'll just keep talking.
It's all good.
We'll definitely catch you at some point in the year. Obviously, we're going to miss the most recent one, which sucks, but
Yeah, there'll be definitely some more opportunities. I'll have to
Absolutely.
go grab a beer before and stuff.
yeah,
Be good.
just so
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, the paparazzi title of this is the Visions band tried to kill Ben Vile underwater. So
Clickbait.
Yeah.
we've got to get a clickbait in here. So
Clickbait, yeah.
Should have told me I would bought a balaclava for the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Or just risen up from the chair like this, like.
Yeah, fucking hell. Anyway, yeah, no, it's been an absolute pleasure, guys. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, man, I
Thanks for
appreciate you
taking the
time with
taking the
us.
time out, mate. It's been cool.
I know it's been 2
It's
hours.
always a
Yeah.
pleasure. I just need to go eat everything under the sun.
Yeah, I cooked a steak and then it was a little bit too late, so I ate half a sweet potato fries, then came on, and now I need to go eat the rest of that cold steak. So
Oh man, I think I've got some lasagna. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Well, my food's just been delivered.
yeah,
Chicken
cheers
and
for
rice.
waffling with us.
Oh,
I've got
nice.
some sort of chicken and rice. I don't know what this is.
Yeah, man. Cheers for the
Yeah.
waffle.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
love it.
Yeah,
thanks
no.
for having me, guys.
Yeah, enjoy the rest of your evening. I'll speak to you again soon.
Yeah, man.
You guys.
See you later, guys.
Later.
Later.